Hey guys, I'm Phoenix here, and welcome to Storytime. Because it is pretty much turning into a tale of magic and mystery, which is why my titles are now almost like book titles. Because this is pretty much a novel in itself. So, what happened yesterday was that Alex Mayer managed to get hold of a lawyer who specialised in copyright law. And they went along to the hearing for her temporary restraining order, which basically now restrains her from sending death threats to Imagos and to the law and to Leonard French. It stops her from dmcaing anything to do with starmazer, etc., etc. And as part of it, she appeared to expunge most of her Twitter things, all the gloating, all the threats that she'd made, all that sort of stuff. She'd expunged that, so it was just literally the death threats that she'd posted. Now, I thought, well, this is done now. The ride is over. I'll now pull out little bits and pieces as the court case continues, possibly, just because it's an interesting thing to talk about. That didn't really go down particularly well, because after the case, after she'd had this temporary restraining order put upon her, she was obviously feeling not too happy with the lawyer, and so she fired him, and then put a complete brain dump onto Twitter of all kinds of things. And the thing was that I hadn't actually been following. I thought, this is it now. She's now going to listen to that lawyer and just go along with the motions. I really should know better by now. So she fired him for three reasons that I could really kind of eke out of this mass of information. An awful lot of that information has now since been deleted. So yeah, I wrote it all down. I powered down my computer and then thought, she has a habit of deleting these things. I better make some notes. So I'm using paper and a pen, which it seems she hates papers and pen, but anyway. So she fired him for three reasons that I could really eke out of all this mass of information. So the lawyer mentioned that maybe she shouldn't admit to making the death threats against people, because it doesn't put his client in a particularly good light if she's going around making death threats to, say, the other side's attorney. And he wasn't particularly tech savvy. He didn't know what Kickstarter was, which I can't necessarily blame him. Kickstarter is a very sort of a new thing, and if somebody knows copyright law, he's being brought in to deal with copyright law, and copyright law doesn't really change. It's just the methods that happen. If he doesn't know what Kickstarter is, then educate him about it. This is Kickstarter, etc., etc. And he also insisted on sending formal letters through the post rather than updating her with quick text messages. This is for two reasons. Lawyers are fairly traditional, fairly hidebound in how they do things, and so formal letters are usually sent out as sort of a proof of the fact that they've sent out this letter. It's a little bit harder to sort of prove necessarily that a text message exists on the basis that this person is slightly unhinged and could just claim that the text message never arrived. So it's more of I have sent this formal letter to you, I have a copy of this letter. It's as much protection for the lawyer as it is for the client and for the entire case, really. The other reason that they do it is because then they can actually bill you for a letter being sent. That's the cynic in me. Right, so since firing the lawyer sort of almost resisted being fired, because I think the lawyer just thought, this person is just upset that the case has gone badly. She's fired me in words, but I'm just going to basically carry on. She'll sleep on it and then maybe see sense in the morning. She wrote to the judge to say that she'd fired him and should be struck from all a recipient of the case, basically. And she also demanded that he resign formally from the case as well. So she did have a little bit of a temper tantrum. Following on from this temper tantrum, she also had a load of food ordered to her by nameless people, and people going round to her parents' house. And the logical step from this was, not only is she going to dox herself by showing her information on Twitter. The information was already out there, but there's a little bit of a difference between a few people seeing it on some doxing website, or sort of a trolly website, to people seeing it on Twitter. It's going to have a larger audience, and some people are going to get a little bit more interesting. And so now that information is out there, she's now going to get an awful lot of rubbish coming to her, because that's what trolls do. But yeah, she doesn't think that this is trolls. She thinks this is her lawyer. This is her lawyer that's now out to get her, and is now sending her food and knocking on her parents' house, parents' door, and all that sort of thing. People are also trying to breach her Twitter, which is a bit silly, because this is a great way of finding out quite what's going on. Just read her Twitter. So, what's the result of this? Well, she now doesn't have a lawyer again, and that's probably not the best thing to do when you're going up against an actual copyright attorney. Just a thought. But ultimately, she does need to get some mental help, and I don't mean this in a nasty way at all. I mean this in a sort of an actual, if you're going to get through this, maybe you do need to see a professional. Simply because that paranoia that's in you, it's building. And you can tell it's building because you do believe that your lawyer, who you've paid money, is out to get you because you fired him. Now, he's basically just going through the motions. He's just thinking, well, yeah, she's fired me in a fit of rage. I'm just going to keep going. She'll see a bit of sense, hopefully. But that paranoia is basically saying, this lawyer won't go away. I need to send letters to the judge. I need to, and it goes very, very overboard. And I have seen this happen to people. One person that I know, who was a conspiracy theorist, ended up in Spain because it's a non-extradition country. Or at least that was the tale, anyway. So paranoia is a very, very dangerous thing. It's useful when people are actually out to get you, but in the sense of you are an everyday citizen. You are not a soldier on the front line in Afghanistan. That's when the paranoia can save your life. But when you are literally just a citizen who's dealing with a court case regarding your DMCAs and regarding your copyright rights, then actually no, these people are not out to get you. And yeah, you're going to have problems with trolls because of how you've done this entire situation. But ultimately it just boils down to the people are not out to get you. But anyway, that's been the latest. I hope you're enjoying the story time. I will have to come up with a good name for this book. But for now, I will say thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.